Chapter 3. Introduce myself, which I should have done a while ago. I should probably introduce myself. My name is Patina Jones, and I ain't no junk. I also ain't no hair flipper, and most of the girls at Chester Academy are hair flippers, who be looking at me like my mom's some kind of junk maker. But ain't none of them got the guts to come out of their mouths with no craziness. They just turn and flip their dingy ponytails toward me like I care. I guess it's no secret that it's never easy being the new girl. And I get to be the new girl in two different places, on the Defenders team and at Chester. Lucky me. But at least the Defenders I can deal with because I know for a fact I can run. I've been running track for 3 years now, thanks to Uncle Tony. Well, not just him. It really has more to do with my mom, dad, Uncle Tony, and Maddie. My whole family. But let's just say Uncle Tony okie dokie the idea into my brain. See, it was my dad's birthday, and also a few months before my mother's legs were taken, and we were celebrating with cupcakes. Real cupcakes, not pretend ones. That my mother had baked in honor of him. Yellow cake, strawberry icing, Dad's recipe. It had become a tradition that I loved, and even though it always made me sad, it really was just a chance for everybody to sit around and for the old heads to crack jokes and tell me and Maddie stories about him. Maddie never knew him, and even though I did, and I remember him, I'll never forget him. There are a lot of things I just didn't know. Like how he used to make beats and sell instrumental tapes to aspiring rappers and singers in the neighborhood. And how he used the money he made from that to put himself through culinary school, to become a pastry chef. And how he loved letting me lick the batter off the spoon before baking a cake, but not nearly as much as he loved seeing me chomp down on the finished product. But apparently, according to Uncle Tony, none of these things were as sweet to him as seeing me run. Your daddy called me when you took your first step, Uncle Tony, peeling the paper from his cupcake, explained in the middle of I remember when session. He answered the phone and Ronnie just started yelling, "She did it, Toon! My baby did it!" Toon was what my dad called Uncle Tony, a nickname from when they were kids, back when Uncle Tony was obsessed with, you guessed it, cartoons. He sure did. He was so proud his pancake was walking, Ma confirmed, smirking like this memory didn't bother her, even though the shine in her eyes said different. Maddie, who was too young to really care about any of this, listened in, cupcake icing smeared all over her chin. Didn't really make sense for me to wipe her mouth until she was done making a mess. The things you learn. But when you started running, Uncle Tony shook his head. That's when he really lost it. He'd send me videos every other day of you dashing back and forth across the living room, little fat legs just moving. But you'd have thought you'd grown wings and started flying or something, the way Ronnie was acting. Uncle Tony licked pink frosting off the cupcake and went on. I don't know what it was about seeing you move like that, but your daddy loved it. You were definitely his pancake, but you were also his little sprinter. Before then, I never even thought about running. It didn't even cross my mind. Even though I used to smoke all the boys in gym class at school, including Lou, who would get all in his feelings and be almost about to cry. Lou would be so salty, like he wasn't impressed, which didn't matter because running didn't mean anything to me anyway. Not for real. But after hearing Uncle Tony talk about my dad like that, something clicked. And one night, a few months later, after Ma's legs were gone, after a crazy moment with Maddie, and I do mean crazy, that I'll also get to later on, I asked Mommy and Uncle Tony to sign me up on a team, and they jumped to it because to them, it was also a good way for me to, I guess, deal with all the changes I was going through, balance out all the like the wild stuff. So proving myself on this new track team, the Defenders, was still just running. Even if it was elite, I mean, no matter how you look at it, it's still listen to your coaches at practice and wait to hear the gun at the meets, then run. Nothing to it. But proving myself at Chester Academy, also elite, was trickier, way trickier, because there were no practices, no coaches, and no starter pistols telling me when to leave everybody in the dust. Matter of fact, there's no dust at Chester. Running isn't nothing these girls are concerned with at all, unless it was running their mouths. Chester Academy is one of those schools that go from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, but the different levels are broken into 3 wings of the building. The South Wing, which was where the high school was, the East Wing, which was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and the North Wing, which was elementary, Maddie's domain. Yep, she's at Chester too, and she loves it, but that's because this is the only school she's ever been at. She's never been in a school where you didn't have to wear pleated paper bags. She never went to a school with boys. And yes, boys make school really, really annoying sometimes, but they can also make it pretty fun, or at least funny. Maddie never went to a school with mostly black kids either. She's only known life as a raisin in milk, as my mom puts it, where lunch is sauteed prawn, which ain't nothing but a fancy way to say cooked shrimp, and all this stuff called couscous, which is basically just grits without the glob. Me, I'm a proud product of the Barnaby Terrace school system, where we ate nasty rectangle pizza, I don't miss that part, and drank chocolate milk for lunch, where we played pranks on people and traded candy while talking trash after school, where we had fun. Chester? Well, I ain't had 1 second of fun at Chester yet. Matter of fact, when I walk down that busy hall in the morning, I keep my eyes down, focus on the floor because I ain't got time to get stunted on by a whole bunch of rich girls whose daddies own stuff. Not like cars and clothes, though they got those too, but stuff, like boats. There's not even water anywhere near here, but these fools got boats, and they don't just own their houses, they own buildings and businesses. Not like a corner store or a weekend dinner plate situation or nothing like that. I'm talking businesses. My dad, he wanted to start his own business. Another one of those birthday stories. A cupcake shop. And maybe if he didn't never wake up, he would have done it. But I bet he wouldn't have bought no boat. But that's who these girls' daddies were. It's what they did. And if your daddy got himself a boat and a building, what does he get you? Probably some crazy pet, like a horse. Can you even teach a horse how to guard your house? The other thing about these girls is that it seems like they've never been told they can't do nothing. Never. I mean, they'd be wearing full faces of makeup and everything. Do you know what my mother would do if she saw me with my whole face made up for school, like I was about to go on some kind of fashion photo shoot or something? She'd probably try to run over me with that wheelchair. But here at Chester, as long as your face is selfie ready 100% of the time, you got a chance. A chance at what? Well, I don't really know. All I know is I ain't got one. What I got is track. I got Ghost, Sunny, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, Lou. That's what I got. Who I got. So I don't really care about these selfie readies. Well, that's not totally true. I care a little bit. So, what do y'all do this weekend? I asked Taylor Stein, Taylor Dorsey, and Becca Brower. It was Monday in history class, which meant it was also the second day of the worst group project of all time in the history of life. The 4 of us had been lumped together last Friday to start on this assignment about an important woman from the past, and in 2 weeks, we would have to do a presentation on her. On Friday, all we did was nail down who we were going to focus on. My first choice was my hero, Florence Flojo Joyner, but none of the girls in my group knew who she was. Seriously? How do you not know one of the flyest runners to ever take a lap? There was a woman named Madeline Manning who was probably the best American 800-meter runner, and that's my race. But still, FloJo was it. Plus those nails. She looked like she raced during the day and was in a singing group at night. So anyway, then I tossed out my second choice, which was Harriet Tubman, who to me was also a pretty good suggestion. Running from slavery and then coming back all those times to free everybody else, like a relay through the Underground Railroad, and Uncle Tony said she might be the new face of the $20 bill. That's major. But the girls weren't feeling that either. All in these moments, I miss not going to school with Cotton, because she would have been like, yo, you know how crazy it would be to see my face on money? Like a $100 bill? I'd be framed in every corner store in the hood. Your girl, looking like money on money. But that's not how the conversation went in my history group. Instead, it was all Harriet Tubman's just too serious. So when I asked who they were thinking about, Becca, who was one of these girls who swore she was going to be a star when she grew up, said we should do the project on this lady named Sally Ride. First woman in space, she said, strangely pointing up at the ceiling. Okay, I can't front. Not a bad suggestion, but then Taylor said for the second time, all these choices were too serious, as if the topic wasn't a serious topic. I mean, it's hard to be seen as important if you haven't ever been through anything serious. But Taylor, who goes by TT, one of the few nicknames, decided to add her 2 cents. By the way, I'd want my face on the penny, because pennies are everywhere, and they'd get my skin tone right. And muddy up our brainstorming session with the brilliant suggestion of Taylor Swift. Becca didn't say nothing, and I wanted to shoot it down, because we already had a Taylor and a Taylor in the group, and I just couldn't take another one. But thankfully, Taylor hit TT with a swift no. So since serious was all I kept hearing on Friday, I decided to keep Monday light by trying out some of that Momly Ma special, some good old small talk. And no, I don't know why I care, why these girls in my class matter to me, except for the fact that I'm just trying to make the best of the situation. I figured weekends had to be a common bond. I mean, it don't matter who you are, Saturday is Saturday. This weekend, well, TT started. She used the long skinny part of the pen cap to scrape grime from under her nails. Saturday, I hit the mall. Me too, Taylor followed. I know you did, because you were with me, TT squealed to Taylor, clutching her fingers into a bear paw to check her nails. Oh, I guess I should make clear that TT and Taylor are best friends. Besties. Another word I don't like. It's just stupid. Bestie and best friend take the exact same amount of time to say. And it ain't like an abbreviation. That's like me calling my teammates my teamies. Anyway, not only are Taylor and TT best friends, but they're also cousins. Cuzzies. And pretend to be sisters. Sissies. They're like attached at the ponytail and call themselves TNT, which is funny because most of the time, I just wish they'd explode. Here's my issues, not with the bestie cousin sisters, but with group projects. One of the group members always has to volunteer their house for everyone to go over to and work on the presentation, which was never really a good thing because 2, ain't nobody coming to my house, and I don't want to go to theirs. And 2B, only one person in the group actually does any work, which brings me to number 3. That person is me. So as the Taylors started going on about whether or not they should both make a t-shirt, the exact same t-shirt, back to the store and exchange it for a smaller size, and Becca was off in space, it was me who reached into my backpack and pulled out printouts of images of this Mexican painter, lady, Frida Kahlo. I'd swiped them from the internet over the weekend. Frida Kahlo was who we all settled on Friday. By the way, with the help of Miss Lanford, who figured political stuff, sick stuff, service stuff, and art stuff could all be explored in the life of this one artist. I was cool with it. I mean, she wasn't Harriet or Flojo, but this lady Frida wore suits and stood up to dudes and had issues with her legs. Good enough for me. After a few seconds of the other girls looking at the images, I got tired of waiting for them to ask how my weekend was. Not like they would have cared about me cooking Maddie's breakfast, making sure she ate her dinner, doing Maddie's hair, church with Ma and the Stinky Thomases, then letting Maddie crawl in bed with me last night while I counted all the beads in her hair, one by one, hoping she'd be asleep before I got to 90. Plus, on top of all that, finding time to research Frida Kahlo for this project and not go to the mall. Oh, and I had to run. But still, I was waiting for them to ask, waiting for them to be normal, or at least treat me normal. Well, I had a track meet I threw out there, out of the blue. Not like I really wanted to talk about that either, but I was willing to just try to connect, or whatever. Whoa, this lady is in desperate need of some tweezers, Taylor said, actually pinching the paper between Frida's eyes. Came in first in the 800 meter, I lied. Still waiting on someone, anyone to say something about it, to acknowledge me. But before anyone did, Miss Lanford popped over to check on us. How are we doing, ladies? Miss Lanford was now standing beside our desks, which had been pushed together into a square, all of us facing each other. The pictures of Frida, bright colored self-portraits, including monkeys and birds and flowers, spread out. The girls all flashed toothpaste commercial smiles and gave different versions of good. I bit my bottom lip and prayed for the bell. After school, I never waste time at my locker. I scurry down to the end of the main corridor, eyes darting from forward to floor through the mess of hair flippers and rathletes, kids who feel like it's a sport to make everyone's life miserable. The know-it-alls, the know-nothings, the hush-hushes, super quiet, super shy. The YMBCs, you might be cuckoo. The girls who wear all black and cover their backpacks with buttons and pins. And the girls whose boyfriends, brothers, and fathers all wear khaki pants. Every day. I know this sounds kind of mean, but it's real. So real. It's like a rich kid obstacle course. And once I make it all the way to the end, I walk through the courtyard to the north wing, where I then have to maneuver through the younger version of all those same categories, except way cuter and less annoying. And the cutest and least annoying of them all, in my opinion, is Maddie, who I always find waiting for me just outside her teacher, Mrs. Stein's, who she calls Mrs. S, door. Ready? I ask, awkwardly wrapping my arms around her detachable hunchback she calls a backpack. Only way I can get a hug in with that thing on. Yep, she turns around and throws the peace sign up to her friends, then turns back and squeezes me, tries to lift me. It's something she's been doing for a while. She has a weird obsession with being strong, with proving she can lift heavy things. She got it, and the peace sign thing too, from Uncle Tony, who used to do push-ups with Maddie sitting on his back, counting in a cartoon voice. Mickey Mouse. Goofy. So goofy. Anyway, after Maddie's cheese and squeeze, we head out to meet Momley, who is always there on time to meet us in the car pickup line. I'm sure I don't have to tell you what the ride home was like. Maddie talking. Mona got glue in her hair again. I picked Willa up. Lauren cried 6 times. You know Willa, right? She's bigger than me. Mrs. S.'s birthday is on Thursday. I think she's turning like 80. She's so lucky she gets suspended at a farm. We'll try to get the cows to moo happy birthday for her. Oh, don't forget you have to drive me to the farm on Thursday, Mommy. Mrs. S. reminded us, so I'm reminding you. Hopefully Lauren won't cry the whole time. Anyway, Riley wouldn't pass the ball to me at first, but then she did. And then I passed it back. And then she passed it to Rachel. And then, while Maddie'd, I changed my clothes in the back seat. It was my daily shape-shifting routine, which wasn't a big deal because I always wore my shorts under my skirt and a tank top. And a tank top under my button up so that by the time we reached MLK Park, my homework started, and I told Maddie what I told her every day, that I'd help her with hers after practice. I was ready to jump out and run from my motor-mouthed little sister and hit the track, which, I gotta admit for me, even with just a second place ribbon, was sometimes more home than home.